Hey everyone, it's Friday on the Pagan Perspective, and this week is the first week of Death Month. So this week we're talking about funeral rites, types of burials, traditions, things of that nature. So the first thing I kind of wanted to cover, I think Kara had talked about it in her video a little bit, was the tradition of wearing black at a funeral. So I did a little bit of research and I found that the idea of wearing black to a funeral comes from England. In history, the color black represents dignity and respect and spiritual reflection. It was also believed through the biblical interpretation in Christianity that black was the correct color to wear in correspondence to the term ashes to ashes. I know that in Wicca and in some other religious practices or spiritual paths, they tend to wear white to the funeral. And that kind of makes sense to me simply because I think white is usually used a lot in terms of celebration. You see it in Christianity with baptisms, you see it in the Catholic religion with, I can't think of the word right now, but where the kids finish going through their Catholic school and they choose their Catholic name and so on and so on. Even with weddings, even holidays in the summertime that we celebrate, things like 4th of July, you see a lot of white skirts and summer dresses come out and everything. So I think white is usually associated with a form of celebration in our conscious minds. Today I wanted to talk about a form of funeral tradition that is unique to the United States and that I am really interested in and love the concept of, and that is the New Orleans Funeral March. If you've never heard of the New Orleans Funeral March, the idea of it is, or the layout of the funeral is, there is usually a horse-drawn hearse, and there is a small Dixieland band. And when the funeral goers go to the church or they walk to the church, the music that is played is very solemn and hymn-like and sad. The funeral takes place at the church. The casket is then put back onto the hearse, and everyone parades to the burial site. And again, it's hymns that are played, very slow, appropriate music, I guess you could say. So once the body is laid to rest in the soil or is cremated, whatever it is that the dead had asked for, it is then that everyone starts to march to the reception place. It is at this time that they will play a few more of the hymn-like tunes, the Dixieland Band, but they'll play it with a little bit of a swing into the music. This allows the marchers or the mourners to know that we're going to start picking up the tempo soon and we're going to start celebrating the life that this person had. At this point, then they usually go into a very rousing, happy, uplifting version of When the Saints Go Marching In and other sorts of tunes like that. You know, the mourners are encouraged to dance, they're encouraged to sing, they're encouraged to be very loud and boisterous, because that's what it is. It's an opportunity to celebrate the life of the person and know that they will be moving on into their next lives. The idea of all this came from, it has African roots, mostly in Nigeria and West Africa area. But I love the idea, especially with it being a Dixieland band or a jazz band, because jazz is very unique to the U.S. It has African roots to it, but it is one of the only American forms of art. The last time a New Orleans funeral march was done or performed that was on a very public scale was after Hurricane Katrina. The city of New Orleans basically held this one big huge parade for all the bodies that were missing or unidentified. and just in general for everyone who had died during Hurricane Katrina. And they had a single coffin that was empty, and basically the whole city came together and mourned and celebrated those who had tragically lost their lives during the hurricane. Unlike Kyle, who had said in his video earlier that he would like to die in a very dramatic sort of way, I prefer not to, simply because every time I think of dramatic way is like burning to death, and I think that would be absolutely terrible. I would hate to experience that, or being stabbed to death, or drowning, which I have a huge fear of. I would prefer just to live out my old age and just die peacefully in my sleep, or die with my friends and family around me. However, when I do pass away, I think I'd really like to have a New Orleans funeral march type funeral. I want my family to be able to, go through a short period of mourning, but also be able to celebrate the life that I had and the memories that we shared. And being a musician, and I really love jazz and blues, coming from Chicago, it's just very fitting for my life and for the things I enjoy. Everyone have a great, safe, wonderful weekend, and I will see you all next Friday.